Today, we are pleased to have the competition winner, Olivia Karapuda, with us. She will be telling us more about her experience in architecture competitions. First of all, thank you, Olivia, for joining us today to share your approach in architecture with our community of architects. So welcome.
Hello. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you. It's a great opportunity to talk about architecture, so thank you.
Thank you. So let's start. First of all, I want to ask you what motivates you to take part in architectural competitions?
Mostly the competition that I take part in and I won anything was as a school project. So it's kind of funny, but it's not always like an obligation for me, of course. Sometimes it just I think it's the part of the job of an architect to take part in competitions, and it's always a great opportunity to challenge yourself and to try something new, to deal with a problem, or to change the perspective of the views. So yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, what you're doing, everything?
So I am from Poland, from this very small seaside town near the Baltic Sea, Łeba. So it's I'm from a very small village actually, and it was always super difficult for me to have like high perspectives of anything actually. So I started my art high school in Gdynia, in Polish city, also near the Baltic Sea. And that was the beginning of the story with art, with architecture. So it was a lot of fun.
So how do you think the competitions you've participated in have influenced your career in architecture?
It was actually very weird when I won like the second prize in House for the Blind competition. I won it with my two friends from Academy. And that was super, like, we were in shock that we won anything. That was like the first bigger prize in our lives. So next day after the results, we had like the propositions for the articles, for the radio interviews, even to take part in the morning TV show in Poland. So that was a lot at the very beginning of the journey. And we felt quite stupid because we just achieved like one competition, like second award, and a lot happened then. And I think that was like still like a small shock for me that this can be the world, and this is how the success look. And that was my first small success. And later, after my first prize, it was like again articles in Polish and in English, and now this interview, for example. So I'm so happy, and I think it means a lot for me. It motivates me to work, and it's just, as I said, the beginning of the journey, and I'm happy that I was already seen and heard, and what I'm doing actually means anything. So that's important to have in my mind.
That's great. So now you feel the success. So
yeah.
What do you think?
Still small success. Yeah.
But yes, like through these competitions, you're starting, it's like the first time that, or in your architectural career, you're getting to experience success. Maybe the first time was a surprise for you. And as you said, like this is what success feels like. Since you're talking about success, what do you think are the key components to your success in architectural competitions?
I don't know. I think I have always in my mind that I have to show something different. And sometimes if I have an idea, I want to show it by renders, visualizations, graphics, whatever, in some kind of different style, some kind of different perspective to the world, to the things that are surrounding us, or the problem that I'm focusing at in my project. So I want to show a little bit different world. When I was showing my diploma to the jury, they said that I have super utopian visions of the world, and it's I don't know, is that a compliment? Maybe not, but for me it's kind of inspiring for just understanding my own like life vision. I don't know, for me it's kind of inspiring, and I'm happy that I'm showing people some like different view and giving them a different experience of the reality that everyone sees. And yeah, I think this is maybe the key of be seen. And I think it's always important to be interesting, to be different, original, authentic, to create your own brand of yourself, because it's like a business and you have to show yourself from always the best angle and always inspire, always being interesting. So in social medias also, there's a lot of archi creators, and they're super interesting, and I love to learn from them, to be inspired from them. So it's like I love the community of the architectures, and this side of it is very inspiring and exciting for me to learn.
So you talked about how the jury said you have a utopian vision in architecture. Yeah. Do you think you apply that in your competitions as well? You approach the projects with a utopian vision?
I think that in my mind, what I create as a project is like a reality that it actually can exist in our life, but the way I'm showing it with visuals and renders and graphics maybe is a little bit utopian, and sometimes the vision of maybe putting it in the world like with a lot of greenery, or I don't know, maybe more like the way of like it's a painting or something like this. I don't know, I like to show it differently, and maybe that's what creates it more utopian, as an utopian vision. But I'm not thinking it's something bad. I think it's something I took from my art schools, and I think it's important to have, as an architect or whatever, it's important for me to have passions like, I don't know, painting, drawing, sculpturing, because it gives more ideas, a different perspective, a different view to surrounding life. And it always can be helpful to create the projects. So I think maybe I took it from my art school. I always loved to sculpture. I always like to paint. So maybe that's why my works looks like it actually works. So yeah.
So are you taking part in any competitions at the moment?
Yes, I'm taking part in Biennale of Design in Poland, based in Krakow now. So it's actually year by year Biennale. And I'm at the very beginning.
You're just beginning in this competition. You're just starting to work on it. Do you think this is like one of the hardest parts it's starting with a project? Don't you think so? And if you think so, how do you usually like start? Where do you start?
I know that maybe not always, but it's very popular that maybe in the people I met and in my art schools, that everyone starts with opening the Pinterest and scrolling through through the pictures and stuff. And I think years ago it was me also. And I think now it's not about that. I really like when I have a longer time to think about the project and actually the subject of the competition, that I really have time to sit, to think, to travel maybe. When I was doing my diploma, I was at Venice at the Biennale, so it was super inspiring for me to see everything and then go back to my diploma. It changed the whole game, actually. So I love to have time for that, for the inspirations, but from the world, not from Pinterest. So I really like to have my eyes open. Then I'm starting sketching, of course. And, you know, it's mostly in my opinion, in my experience, it's always like mostly in my head, actually. So it's not always a lot of sketches or something, but I think sketches are super important, and showing them later is also, it can be super important and super interesting to look at. So the whole process, I think it's super important to have like step by step. It's not always like, okay, I have an idea and now I'm just starting to do visualizations like renders and stuff, and being in a hurry, because sometimes thinking about it opens new doors in your head. And I think it's when I had like a longer period of time to do the competition, it's changed a lot at the very end of the competition, and I think it was super important to have it. And it's also a super important moment when you realize that maybe I have to change something that I thought at the beginning it will be super cool. And yeah. Okay. So I think the process, if it's longer, it's better. And thinking about it, it's super important. And thinking about it in your room, thinking about it, scrolling through, like, I don't know, searching in books is also, I think, super cool to have art books. Sometimes looking at the paintings, going through to the museum, sometimes it's super inspiring. And later, after what we've seen, we can actually focus on the project, and we have like a new vision, and we said like, wow, I have something. And I didn't thought about it that it will be the biggest inspiration for the project.
So a book could be an inspiration sometimes, and that's like, you don't know where you can get an inspiration.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us more about your experience in the Terzo Giordano waterfront competition and House for the Blind competition?
Yeah, okay. So maybe going more chronological, I will start with the House for the Blind competition.
Okay.
That was the craziest journey. So yeah, I did this competition in a group of 3. So I was with my friend from Academy and one girl from Greece, from Erasmus. So it was also inspiring to have like a different influence, maybe. So yeah, it was like a very short period of time to do this. And at the very end of the competition, when we had like, I don't know, 2 weeks and everything was like, you know, not in the boards. We were like still doing drawings and graphics. I had COVID. So, and that was super hard for me to deal with. And I thought, oh no, we're gonna ruin this competition. And I was so happy because, you know, the competition was very strict with rules about the inhabitant, because we had completely blind person without the guide dog, and you know, we had to create a house for him or her. So for us, it was super important to create the logic plan. So we decided to create a centripetal plan. where the corridors will be like surrounding the whole house. So also very important for us was to create the wall claddings and the system of easy recognizable space. So we know that the blind person have very high other senses, and we wanted to use it to stimulate them to create a multifunctional space for the inhabitant to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to feel logical for other people, maybe with also the blindness. So yeah, we created this space, and we were so happy that oh my God, sorry, my mom is calling. Great time. Thank you, Mom. Sorry for that. Yeah, my biggest support, of course. Anyways, yeah. So we created on a grid 60 by 60 centimeters because we wanted to create the plan of where the model is the length of the human step. And we called our project because every step counts as a system of recognizing the space. So everyone will feel comfortable to walk through this and walk through all the functions. So yeah, the most important thing I thought was by creating this during I was creating it was to show it with infographics, to show how the inhabitant will go through every section, every function in the house. So I think it's when I was younger, I thought that the competition means the beautiful boards, beautiful visuals, and that's how you will win the competition. And now when we had a lot of struggles with the competition, I was like not really happy about the visuals maybe. So I was really considered about and focused about the graphics, the drawings, to show the jury the full idea, because I think the idea was cool and great and logical, and I was really happy about it, and I really don't want to ruin this. And now I have the results of the second place, and I think that I'm really happy that we really focused on the drawings and the graphics and stuff to show the idea, because doing it clear and like doing the clear and logical drawings, I think it's very important for the jury and others to understand in the competition. In the competition of the Crested, the waterfront, it was also a school project from the scenography in my academy, and everyone from my other friends were working in the groups of 3 and 4, and I was ill or something, and I came and I was like, oh no, I'm going to be alone in that big competition. It was like a big area of the place we had to create to project, and it was like 78 meters to, I don't know, 100 and something meters wide. So it was a huge area, and we are interior designing, So for us, creating anything in that big space was something new, and for me, by myself, in the group, was such a challenge. So I focused on what is the most important in Florence. We had to create a pavilion with the special function, the new function, the landmark for the Florence. So the place will be recognizable as from the tourists and the inhabitants. So I wanted to create something as an oasis, because Florence is full of the Renaissance architecture, a lot of cultural cultured places and, you know, a lot of people. So I really wanted to create like a natural border for like a greenery, because at the other side of the river, where was the place of the competition, we have a lot of giardinos, which in gardens. So I wanted to, you know, create like a natural green border to this different world, maybe. And yeah, I was reading about a lot about the ecosystem of the river from the Italian biologists. So that was a process of trying to, you know, help the nature and to grow again. It was also important because the land is very like it's like a lot of floods in there, and then comes the hot weather, so it was super hard for flowers and to plants to grow. So I created the retention canals and the crop beds for the new nature that I created. And yeah, as a main pavilion, it was a tea pavilion. As a new function, a lot of greenery. A lot of the pavilion was like a skeleton with glass, and the ceilings taken from the Florence Renaissance architecture. And in this competition also, I created everything on the plan of grids, like the rectangulars, rectangular figures. So yeah, everything was closed in rectangles, and I wanted to also show the logic system of going through some functions and some parts where we can meet with people to actually grow those plants and to go swimming or go take a boat, you know, something that I'm just create very beginning of it, and by the time it will change without any iteration. So I think it's also important to think about project not only in the time where we create it, but also after some period of time, how it will still prosper. So I think it's also important to think about this. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of talking from me.
No, that's that's a very like in-depth explanation of both competitions. So I have one more, like this is our last question. Do you have any advice for architects when it comes to participation and maybe winning these competitions?
So I'm not thinking like I'm a good person to give anyone advices, but I think the most important is, of course, having a good idea, to feel that we have the vibe of the competition, and to actually be able to show it as a logic project, a logic plan, to show it clear, and then just show it maybe in a unique style. Maybe sometimes I think it's cool to show like some kind of problem of the area, or have inspos from, I don't know, earlier years of this, or the history of the area. It depends on the competition, of course, but sometimes going through to the roots of something means everything to the competition, and not everyone thinks about it that way, because sometimes we can easily kill the potential or kill the history, and I think we already feel that it's not the vibe of the place. So I think it's very important to take a bit from the history, take a bit from what is, like, you know, maybe in trends, or what we really like, or what is what this place really needs right now, and you know, like right now in our time. So taking these two and mixing them together, I think sometimes can give a lot of good stuff. And sometimes that's all we have to win. But I think with every competition, it's like a lottery. We don't really know what the jury would like. And maybe they will not understand us or will not catch the vibe of ours. So I think it's always trying, always experimenting. I think experimenting is also very good because it's like the time when you really can do anything. It depends only on your creativity and your mind. So I really like to challenge myself. It's not always about winning. Sometimes you just take the experience the competitions gives you, and I think it's like the most important for me. If I will take part in any competition, I'm not always thinking about winning. I'm not thinking about the prize or any awards. Just sometimes the satisfaction is good. Sometimes the experience is good, learning us something. So I think if we are young and we are still learning or stuff like that, I think the most important is to collect the experience, because that builds us, builds our personality, our mindset, and the perspective, the view of the life of the world. So yeah, then I'm also learning from my art passions, and when it all comes together, I think sometimes it gives something good, and I see it and I really like to tell myself that I did something good. I like it. It's a great job. I did a great job. I won the competition by myself. It's also a big achievement for me. So yeah, I'm just happy with my small successes, and I'm really waiting for bigger ones. Now it's vacations, and planned for the vacations another competition. So we will see. I'm just learning, just taking the experience, and I'm happy about it. It's the passion. The architecture is my passion, and I really am glad that I can talk with you about it, and to share my stories, to share my experience maybe. So it's a journey, and I hope it will be beautiful all the time. Maybe my words also are utopian. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an utopian person. I really like this about me, that I'm showing something that is really me, and people like this. People see this, and they talk like it's a good job. I'm very happy about it, and I will try my best to be also always very unique, and to change also, because sometimes it's not all about having one type of doing something and do this for the rest of your life the same. I think it's the career of the architect is always you have to be all the time with the trends, and fresh and inspiring. So I think it really helps when you learn from books, learn from history, and having them giving them a fresh view, and meeting maybe new friends, travels gives a lot. So yeah, friends from abroad. I think everything, if you really focus about it, everything can be an inspiration, and everything can give you the first place in the competition, So yeah, I think